Heyo, Skycap here. Today we have another dual mouse review, this time with the GravaStar Mercury M1 Pro Battle-Worn and the Mercury M2. These mice have the same shape and similar specs, with the M1 Pro's magnesium alloy shell weighing in at about 90 to 91 grams, and the plastic shell of the M2 version at 81 grams. Additionally, the M1 Pro supports a 4K wireless polling rate thanks to its use of the Nordic 52833 controller. This controller is also found on the Fantech Helios 2 Pro, and you can see the included 4K dongle right here. It's like a mini version of the mouse. While the M2 maxes out at 1K polling with its CompX controller, the same one found in the Endgame Gear XM2 Wii and OP1 Wii. If nothing else, the shape of these mice is unique. In the intended orientation, unfortunately, it does feel like you're gripping a shoe. This shape actually feels better if it were flipped around. I think it'd be pretty comfortable for a claw or fingertip grip in that orientation, but as it is, I couldn't really maintain a comfortable grip in a long gaming session with it. That being the case, I would say it's not really useful for FPS gaming. I'll talk about that more in depth later on. I have made the M2 into my daily driver for office use, since these mice both have the option for Bluetooth connectivity. The main clicks for the M1 Pro are Omron Bluepoint 50M switches, and on the M2 we have KL 80Ms. I'll do a click test here so you can see what they sound like. The scroll wheel is rubberized and surprisingly light. In my opinion, only the Final Mouse ULX scroll wheel is lighter than these. The side clicks are fine, and on both the M1 Pro and the M2, the buttons are attached to a magnet and they're easily removable and replaceable. Though the buttons do have that triangle point, kind of like the Rapu mice did. So these aren't flat side buttons, they come to a point right where your thumb would make contact. Taking a look at the stock skates, at the risk of sounding too blunt, simply put, these stock skates are ass. Apparently, they're made from Teflon. They're really scratchy. They're way too thin to be useful, especially given the weight of these mice. And I took them off almost immediately. They did start to scratch a couple of the pads I had tested them on. Is it the pad? Is that the mouse? These were made for general or all-purpose use rather than a specific niche like FPS gaming, which is fine. I wound up putting Esports Tiger Yan Z dots on the M1 Pro and X-Ray Pad Jade Speed dots on the M2. Discussing sensor and battery performance, though these mice are equipped with the standard flagship PixArt 3395 sensor, they aren't really designed to be used in a way where that would make a difference in-game. Tracking performance while aim training was just fine, and I haven't misclicked a spreadsheet cell, not once. So overall, no complaints. Both mice have the same 400 milliamp hour battery, which is an interesting choice for the M1 Pro, given that it's already heavier than the M2, and it has the additional 4K wireless capability. You're not going to get a ton of wireless hours gaming at 4K polling on this, but these mice do sit battery on Bluetooth and last multiple work weeks with that connection. The M1 Pro's battery consumption is rated over double that of the M2. And again, they have the same 400 milliamp hour battery. So the Nordic MCU in the M1 Pro must be doing some real heavy lifting in terms of the power consumption. So that's pretty impressive. Just to quickly touch on the software, it's a GravaStar reskinned version of the usual 3395 implementations. It does have the option to reduce click debounce to 0 milliseconds, which is nice. We haven't seen that in all 3395 mice software. It does come stock at 8 millisecond debounce, so if that's important to you, you will want to change that. It also includes options for controlling the RGB unit that resides in the center of the mouse. Plenty of options there. Other than that, nothing really of note here, and it works as easily as it should and as it does on other mice. I also want to touch on some more concerns I have with this mouse, both from a release perspective and a connectivity issue. First, for the release, I usually don't hold logistics or slow distribution against a company, especially for a new mouse release. However, there were some significant delays and tracking miscommunication with this pre-order batch, and GravaStar could have addressed that a lot sooner than later. The biggest issue was tracking information showed that these were in Illinois for over 2 weeks, just sitting there. But what was actually happening was the shipping was actually from China. GravaStar didn't communicate it that way. Eventually, they did recognize that people were upset. This was primarily in the Discord. They did communicate about the issue, and it was nice to see them address that. And I expect they'll have that corrected going forward. Next, the dongle connectivity. This is specifically for the 4K dongle for the M1 Pro. It's a major pain in the ass to connect. It doesn't fit with any other cable besides this one that it comes with. I use several different cables. Here you can see I have the Final Mouse cable. This is the Ninjutsu cable. This is the Sprime cable. And this is a Pulsar X2 cable. This does not fit on any of them. The Final Mouse comes closest. While that gets inside the groove that you see there, this actually doesn't reach to connect. This is the Ninjutsu cable. Not even close. This is the Sprime cable. Pretty sure it's the same as the Ninjutsu cable, honestly. And this is the Pulsar cable from the X2 FE. Also a no-go. If you're the type to set it and forget it, this is probably not an issue for you, though it makes no sense to me why the dongle would be designed this way. But so be it. It is what it is. So to wrap things up, if you've made it this far, you probably guessed these mice are not joining the Mile High Club, though the M2 may get busy at the water cooler if you work in an office. I think it's a good first effort from GravaStar, and it's a learning experience to build upon future releases should they do more mice. There's plenty of room and high demand for this mouse to compete in the RGB or gamer mouse space. But overall, yeah, not a bad mouse by any means, but just not the mouse for me, and that's okay. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.